Hello, yes, and I have just finished the making of The Shining book by Lee Unkrich and J.R. Rinzler, and it has brought me into the dark heart of the Overlook Hotel and back again. So this is going to be an overview review of the book and why I consider it one of the best film books I've ever read, and I've read a few. And in this video I will also be talking about how this affects my own filmmaking, having just spent years completing my own independent feature film, Gardener's Planet. If there was one single feeling that I could sum up this book with, it would probably be exhaustion, and I mean that in a really good way, because you really feel as if you're right there filming the film with them. And the primary part of this book is totally taken up with the shooting of The Shining that happens between April 1978 to May 1979, and those pages take up from page 253 to 675. So that's a huge chunk of the book. It's like half the book basically. So I think the best thing I can say about this book is that you can really feel Kubrick's brain humming on every single page. And you see him work through a variety of issues, from how much of the ghosts we should see in the film to why his insurance costs are higher than others, whether he should shoot past 5 p.m. on a Friday, the shade of yellow on the walls, and also his first AD, Brian Cook's rule that for every week Kubrick scheduled, he actually needed 4 weeks. And if you're as obsessed with The Shining as I am, it's these small details that totally make the book a worthwhile purchase. And the book was definitely written with obsessives in mind. I think if I was a casual reader and I got this book, I think, yeah, I would probably struggle and find it overwhelming. But in saying that, if I did start as a casual reader and I managed to get through it, I would probably be an obsessive by the end. And yeah, not that I'm comparing, but you know, having seen Kubrick go through all these struggles to make this movie, it's definitely gratifying to see I went through a lot of the same problems on my own independent feature film, Gardener's Planet. You know, it can be totally overwhelming making a film, and I really think people still have no idea how hard it is to make a film. The range of skills and knowledge that you need across a huge different amounts of departments and skill sets is still kind of staggering and scary to me, and so I'm still trying to get up to what I feel sometimes is a very basic level. But I do love what this book is doing, which is just humanizing the process of making the film, and so from that point of view it's very inspiring to me, and the YouTube journey where I'm trying to show more of the behind the scenes of my own film. So it's interesting to see that. Now, obviously, one of the most interesting aspects to me actually was reading the book from a technology point of view, because the film was made in 1979, so The Shining was obviously a completely analog experience. No computers anywhere, no siree. So the book is littered with references to technology that simply no longer exist anymore. Like, for example, the film was shot on 35mm film. That's gone for the vast majority of film shoots. It was shot on a Mitchell BNC camera. They're basically gone. It was edited on a flatbed Steenbeck. They're basically completely gone. And as well as all that analog technology, you also have all the paperwork, the real physical paperwork, which is going along to support this production. And you do see a lot of this paperwork in Vivian Kubrick's great documentary on the making of The Shining as well, from the scripts, the call sheets, and the schedules. And with all that paperwork, you also kind of have the postal system going in hand with that. So they're posting scripts and schedules and you know, messages over to America. They're posting film back, like the helicopter stuff they shot in Colorado, posting that back to England. So it's pretty wild, and the book really essentially at some points is just such a beautiful and wonderful archive of how films were made in the late 20th century. So in some ways, in reading the book, it feels like almost a completely different industry. Obviously the goal is still the same, to work with actors and edit footage to try and make a great film, but the process by which we do that now is almost unrecognizable to what they were doing in the 70s. And I am bittersweet about that. There's a certain romanticism with working with film and the process by which that was done back in the day.
Let them realize we're out of time.
But if you ask me to go back and make a film on film and edit like on a Steinbeck, just no way, I wouldn't do it, count me out. And even for someone who's known for being as obsessive as Kubrick is, there's loads of examples in the book where you can really feel that Kubrick is discovering the film as he's making it. And a good example of that is in Vivian Kubrick's documentary, where you literally see him find that famous low-angle shot looking up at Jack as he bangs on the pantry door wall.
Head down? Yeah. Well, that's not bad.
But the book obviously goes a lot deeper than the documentary can, and a good example of that is over the course of the book and over the course of shooting, you gradually see the subplot of the scrapbook, which is a major narrative and driving force of the King novel, slowly be reduced and reduced and reduced. And by the time it comes to editing, that subplot is gone completely. And it's not just small stuff either, like subplots, like it's big things too. Like basically throughout the whole film, as he's shooting it, Kubrick is still figuring out the ending of the movie. And I love this quote on page 401. If Halloran runs into the maze with the flashlight, perhaps guided and called telepathically, he could have a scene with Danny in a maze channel. Kubrick then added, Halloran, is he going to be turned, frightened by the hotel, or just arrive, collect Danny and Wendy, and then go? The story is basically over and the big action climax is climaxed. We don't really need anything else, and if we are short of time, we don't really want to start anything else. Also, interestingly, what I found on kind of a side note, I don't know if anyone else has spotted this who's read the book, is that the shooting schedule by which they shot The Shining does seem to have been designed to, as they progressed forward, to explore the lore of the Overlook Hotel more and more and more. Like the very first scene they shot was actually a deleted scene of Shelley Duvall talking to a psychiatrist, and one of the very last things they shot was the famous red bathroom sequence, which is kind of as deep into the lore of the Overlook as we go. So I don't think that was a coincidence. I think Kubrick designed the schedule in that way, knowing that the film, like every film to some extent, greater or larger, is always a journey of finding and exploring the film as you're making it. So it seems like Kubrick designed the schedule in a way through which he could explore his material and give himself as many opportunities to explore the material as deeply as possible. And this was all great to hear, you know, as an independent filmmaker who often feels like he doesn't have all the answers. It was kind of reassuring to see someone like Kubrick struggle with the process. You know, and my own film as well, Gardener's Planet, is littered with examples of things that we changed, even though we were super prepared with storyboard scripts, animatics. Things still changed, you know, and there were small things from Giles making this joke about the mug to bigger things of going from practical aliens to CGI aliens. So while you have to be prepared and you have to give yourself every chance of succeeding, things are going to change anyway. So if you're not open to that change or willing to you know, accept that new things will arise, good and bad, then you're actually, in my opinion, I think, not giving yourself every chance to succeed that you potentially can. So I love this book and I can't recommend it enough. If you're obsessed or even half as obsessed with The Shining as I am, I think you're going to love it, and I'm really looking forward to reading it for a second time. Really what stands out to me is just the great team Kubrick had around him. You know, he was surrounded by the best goddamn people, you know, and not all those people are in the credits as well, you know, because they didn't have everyone in the credits back in the day. So this book is a huge opportunity to pay thanks to all the people he had around him, from the people who did the fake snow that gave us so many iconic images, to the people who made the fake blood and the catering. And we tried to do that in my own film as well. You know, some of the best things came from other people, you know, not just the actors, but also our great crew as well, like Con Prout, who did our fantastic smoke effects, and Outpost Creations, Will and his team, who created our fantastic plant monster. The film, and all films, would not be the same without the crew who are backing them up. So yes, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found any of this educational, interesting, or just vaguely entertaining, then please consider liking and subscribing. And yes, I will be back with another video from the world of independent filmmaking very soon.